Hey everyone, let us see how a router gets connected to different LAN networks. Here we are considering a router with two different LAN networks. So let us see how all the IP addresses should differ and the default gateways should differ. So initially we are taking a router, we click on the router and I take router 2901 and I'm going to place it on the screen. So the second thing I'm going to do is I need a switch PT on the either side of the router. So I am connecting one LAN with this switch and the second LAN with this switch. So I need three end devices. So one of my end devices is going to be my computer. The second is my generic laptop. The third device is a server. So here also I have a computer, a laptop, and a server. So now I'm going to connect the devices. So when I say connections, here I have the copper straight through, which is connected for the same level devices. So I'm going to connect all the devices this way. So devices of LAN 1 are connected to the switch. So I need to connect the switch to the router. So I choose the same wire again and pass it in a 3-1 and gigabit Ethernet 00. So the first LAN is given its connection. So now let us connect these devices in the same way to the switch and the switch will be connected to the router. So I am going to use the same cable and the same technique which I've used. No, this is not getting connected to the router. I'm sorry for that. It is getting connected to the switch. So once they're connected, I'm also going to connect the switch over here to the router which is present. So now the connections are done. So let me assign an IP address for all the devices and users present over here. And remember a thing that there is the left hand side of the router and there is the right hand side of the router. And both of them should have different IP addresses, different network address. So on the left hand side, I am going to say PC0 has an IP address of 192.168.10.1 and I'm going to press tab so that it gets the default subnet mask. I'm going to do the same for the second device. I'm going to say config fast ethernet and I'm going to give its IP address 192.168.10.2 and a tab to get its default mask and the same with the server. So I'm done setting the IP addresses for the leftmost end devices and now let me set the same for the rightmost and always remember the network address should be different. So here I'm going to say config and the fast ethernet value is going to be 192.168.20.1. So I press the tab again to get the default subnet mask and the same procedure is being repeated for the other two devices. So here comes our second device whose IP address would be 20.2 and the third device I think I should be giving 192.168.20.3. So once you're done assigning the IP addresses, just go on the devices, just place your mouse over there and just confirm what the IP address you've given. Here in the IP address section, you can see what is actually there. It is 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 20.1, 20.2, 20.3. So as I've already told, the green dots over here represent that the connection is going well, it's going fine. And if there is a red dot, that means there is some error in the connection or something is not set, like the message or the packet cannot be traveled well. So now all the thing over here, all the connections over here show me green signal other than the router's connection. So I'm going to click on the router. I'm going to the CLI command. So I'm just going to exit from, okay, yes, okay. First I'm going to exit from the router. Okay, going to the router now. I'm going to the physical mode, sorry, config and gigabit 00. I'm going to give an IP address like 192.168.10. It would be 1234. Okay, and the second thing would be 192.168.20.4. So it is 10.4. I didn't save it. Huh? It is 192.168.10.4, and always remember to make this port enabled. So when I go to the second one, 192.168.20.4, tab, and there's a port status enabled. So here I have both of them set. So one is 10.4 and the other is 20.4. So here I'll go to the CLI command prompt and I'm going to say exit from all of them. So here I'm going to say enable and after that I'm going to say config t. So when I say config t over here, I just close this out. So now you can see the connections between the router is fine. So when I give a packet to my PC1 and when I say that it has to be transferred to the laptop, it needs to know through which gateway it has to go. So which is called as a default gateway. So when I go to this command and I say IP configuration, the default gateway is null. So as you've seen for the router, we've given in the config the default gateway is 10.4, the IP address. So this is the default gateway for all this side LAN computers or end users. So I am going to assign the default gateway, which is going to be 192.168.10.4. It should belong to the same network address, and it should be common for the three devices. So that is how it becomes the default gateway. I'm going to copy this because this is going to be same for all the devices which is present on the left hand side of our router. So it is 198.168.10.4. So I'm going to do lastly for the server which we have. So I go to the IP address configuration stuff and I paste it near the default gateway. So when I'm done with this, when you see the left hand side was aligned according to the router's gigabit ethernet 0/0. It is 10.4. So to assign the right bit thing, we need the 0.0-1, 0/1, sorry. And the IP address given to this would be 20.4. This would be the default mask for all the right side devices. So when I go into the desktop and click IP configuration, I say 192.168.20.4, and this is my default gateway for all the devices on the right side. So I'm going to assign the same values for all the three devices present over here. So once I enter all the three values on the left hand side and the right hand side, I'm done assigning values. So I just need to check how the packet is being transferred from one side to the other. So for that, we're in the real-time mode now. I'm going to change that to the stimulation mode. And we're going to edit filters. And I don't need all the ARP catch and all this stuff. Everything I need is the ICMP alone. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to uncheck all the other boxes. so that you get in detail only about the ICMP required details. So once you're done unchecking all these things, it would appear something like this. So here I've set all the details. So when we need this auto capture and all these things, I'm going to pull all the icons or the devices which you have onto the other side so that playing with them becomes easy. So here we have everything set. So now I'm going to take a packet from this device and I'm going to send it to this device, which is having the IP address of 192.168.20.2. So I click on this, I go into the command prompt and I say ping 192.168.20.2 and I say enter. So when I say enter, I actually auto and capture to play the entire scenario or just capture and forward to know the each step. So when I say capture and forward, that is getting transferred to the switch and next it is going to the router. According to the default mask, it got onto the router. So there is some fault, it got back. So let us see what it will be. Let me do it again. So here I have my PC 0. I'm going to select that. I'm going to the command line and I'm going to say the same command ping 192.168.20.1 and once I say that I'm going to auto capture or capture or forward to notice each and every step that is going through. So it got onto the router. So the next step would be it entered the second LAN and it reached the first device. The packet is successfully reached and the next step it would be to come back to our system in a very successful way. This is how it happens when two LAN networks are connected through a router. Thanks for watching.